I was a little bit today, but I think it was just the least nervous I've been heading into a first round of a Grand Slam, and then the whole racket situation I think just took a load off too.
I think yan yung talagang pinaka nakakaiyak sa akin is when they play Lupang Hinirang or any like the national anthem. And
everybody, it's Aiex and Coco here. Thank you so much for all the support that you've been giving us this week, and hopefully in our next match, a lot of you will come out.
Match halted. Eala's heartbreaking mid-court breakdown that left Coco Gauff speechless.
Usually I'm very nervous, and I was a little bit today, but I think it was just the least nervous I've been heading into a first round of a Grand Slam, and then the whole racket situation I think.
What is up, tennis fans, and welcome back to Champions Tennisitics, your absolute #1 destination for the most jaw-dropping, heart-stopping, gut-wrenching, and unbelievably beautiful moments the world of tennis has to offer. Grab your tissues, pour yourself a drink, settle in, and do not even think about clicking away, because what I am about to take you through today is without a single shadow of a doubt one of the most emotionally shattering, profoundly human, and flat-out extraordinary moments ever witnessed on a professional tennis court in the history of the sport. And trust me, in a sport that has gifted us Federer's Wimbledon tears, Nadal's relentless warrior spirit, and Serena's decades of barrier-smashing brilliance, that is saying something enormous. We have seen rackets smashed into the hard court. We have seen epic, 5-set meltdowns that had entire stadiums holding their breath. We have seen miraculous last-gasp comebacks that defied all logic and probability. We have seen players collapse from sheer physical exhaustion and drag themselves back upright through nothing but iron will. But absolutely nothing, and I mean nothing in the entire archive of professional tennis, could have prepared the fans inside that arena, the tournament officials, the umpires, the line judges, or even reigning American superstar Coco Gauff herself for what unfolded in the scorching Dubai heat during the quarterfinal round of the Dubai Championships. In the middle of a fiercely contested, high-voltage quarterfinal match, the young and luminously talented rising star from the Philippines, Eala, did the unthinkable. She stopped the match. Not a medical timeout, not a bathroom break, not a furious argument with an umpire over a controversial line call. No, right in the dead center of a live, high-stakes point, with the ball still in play, with thousands of eyes burning into her from every corner of that packed stadium, with the cameras rolling and a global television audience watching, Eala simply dropped everything, abandoned the point, and sprinted directly into the spectator stands toward a 10-year-old boy in a wheelchair. What happened next is a story of incredible hardship, impossible odds, unimaginable kindness, and a twist so heartwarming, so deeply human, and so wildly unexpected that it has now broken the internet in the most beautiful way imaginable. Stay with me all the way to the very end of this story, because the announcement Aiex made after the match is going to send shockwaves through the world of professional tennis and change the lives of thousands of children forever. Picture the scene. It is the quarterfinals of the Dubai Championships, one of the most prestigious and glamorous events on the WTA Tour calendar. The atmosphere inside the stadium is absolutely electric, buzzing with the kind of energy that only the highest-stakes professional sport can generate. The glitz and opulence of Dubai are on full spectacular display, a city that does nothing by halves, with celebrities, tennis royalty, business moguls, and hardcore tennis purists packing the stands all the way to the rafters. The LED scoreboards are blazing, the floodlights are blazing even harder, and the desert heat is wrapping its heavy arms around the entire arena like a warm, suffocating blanket. On one side of the net, you have Coco Gauff, the reigning queen of American tennis, a Grand Slam champion, a player who carries herself with the calm, unnerving authority of someone who has already stared down the biggest stages in the world and made them her own. Her ground strokes are thunderous, her serve is a weapon, and her mental fortitude under pressure is the stuff of coaching textbooks. She is not just in form right now, she is operating at a completely different level. On the other side of the net, you have the pride of the Philippines, 20-year-old Eala. And just reaching this quarterfinal stage against elite competition is already a monumental statement about the sheer grit, talent, and relentless work ethic that have defined every chapter of this young woman's extraordinary career. But right now, in this moment, things are not going Alex's way. The scoreboard is ticking firmly in Coco's favor. The weight of an entire nation, the Philippines, a country that has followed Ailex's every serve and backhand with an intensity and devotion that is impossible to overstate, is sitting squarely and heavily on her young shoulders. You can see the exhaustion beginning to seep into her movement, the frustration simmering just below the surface of her expression as she searches desperately for a way to crack open Coco's ironclad defensive wall. The crowd is on the absolute edge of their seats. The court microphones are picking up the rhythmic, hypnotic thud of the tennis ball, the sharp squeak of sneakers pivoting on hard court, the grunts of exertion with every heavy ground stroke. Coco wins up from deep on the baseline, unleashing a blistering, flat drive that sends Aiex scrambling wide. The rally is on. The point is absolutely live. And then, out of absolutely nowhere, the unthinkable happens. Eala just stops. She freezes mid-stride, abandons the point entirely, and lets the ball sail harmlessly past her to bounce against the back curtain. For the span of one long, bewildering heartbeat, the entire stadium goes completely, utterly, eerily silent. Not the silence of a crowd holding its breath, the silence of a crowd that genuinely does not comprehend what it has just witnessed. You could hear a single coin drop on that hardcourt surface. Coco Gauff freezes on the opposite baseline. Her racket drops slightly in her hand. A look of pure, unfiltered confusion washes across her face. The chair umpire leans sharply forward in the tall chair, reaching instinctively for the microphone, every professional instinct in his body screaming that a code violation is about to be issued. In professional tennis, you simply do not stop a point. You do not abandon a live ball. The rules are ironclad. The penalties are automatic. But before the umpire's fingers can even graze that microphone, before a single syllable can leave his lips, Aiex is already moving. And she is not moving toward her bench, not looking at her coaching box, not walking toward the net to speak with Coco. She is sprinting, full pace, directly toward the stands. The television cameras swivel and zoom frantically, trying to follow the action, trying to make sense of what is unfolding. The crowd, already murmuring in complete bewilderment, begins to shift and crane and rise from their seats. And that is when the world finally sees him. Sitting right there in the front row, positioned perfectly to watch his absolute hero play tennis on the biggest stage he has ever seen in his young life, is a 10-year-old boy. But this is not just any young fan who bought a ticket and got lucky with a front row seat. He is seated in a wheelchair, wearing a bright, proudly displayed Philippines national team shirt. And clutched in his small hands, hands that clearly spent a long, careful, loving time on this project, is a homemade cardboard sign, painted with unmistakable care and devotion. The sign reads, in bold, hand-painted capital letters, "Aiex, you are my hope." As Aiex reaches him, the fiercely competitive tennis player disappears completely. The warrior who has been grinding through one of the toughest draws of her career is suddenly, entirely gone. What replaces her, right there in front of a stunned global audience and an arena packed with thousands of onlookers, is simply a young woman overwhelmed by recognition, by memory, by the staggering weight of what this specific moment means. Eala drops to her knees on the hard concrete in front of the boy's wheelchair, throws her arms around him in the tightest, most desperate, most genuine embrace you have ever seen on a sports broadcast, and buries her face completely in his shoulder. And guys, she just absolutely breaks down. The rising star of Asian tennis, the player who carries an entire nation's hopes and dreams on her back every single time she walks onto a court, is sobbing. Openly, uncontrollably sobbing. Her tears are soaking the front of this boy's Philippines shirt, while the little boy, equally overwhelmed, wraps his thin arms around her neck and starts crying too. Two people, separated by years and circumstance and thousands of miles of Pacific Ocean, holding onto each other in the middle of a tennis court in Dubai, the whole world watching, and not a single soul in that stadium making a sound. Now let's rewind, because the backstory of this little boy is what makes this moment hit with the force of an absolute freight train. He did not simply happen to purchase a ticket to the Dubai Championships. His journey to that specific front row seat is nothing short of a genuine, modern-day miracle, and the full details that emerged in the hours after the match are almost too painful and too beautiful to hold at the same time. This 10-year-old is from a deeply impoverished area in the Philippines, a region where every single day is a battle against circumstances that most people watching this on their phones or laptops could barely begin to imagine. His family has been wrestling with severe financial hardship for years, the kind of grinding, relentless poverty where the monthly budget for an entire household is less than what a Dubai tourist might casually spend on a single dinner. And layered on top of the crushing financial despair, this brave little boy has been living every day confined to that wheelchair, navigating a world that was not built with him in mind, and facing physical challenges that would test the spirit of anyone, regardless of age. The crowd, which has been holding its collective breath and processing the rapidly evolving scene in confused silence, finally erupts. It starts as a ripple, a few tentative, then more confident claps, and within seconds it snowballs into a deafening, thunderous, sustained standing ovation that rattles the floodlight fixtures above the court. Thousands of people are on their feet. Grown adults are wiping tears from their eyes with the backs of their hands. Phone screens are raised everywhere, desperate to capture and preserve this exact moment forever. And Coco Gauff. Let's talk about Coco Gauff, because the way she handled this moment deserves its own chapter in the story of great sportsmanship. Coco, standing on the other side of the net, in the middle of what should have been her momentum, her match, her moment, does not show frustration, does not show impatience, does not look to the umpire for support or at her coaching box for guidance. She drops her racket to her side, walks up to the net, and begins applauding along with the rest of the crowd. Coco Gauff, a vocal and passionate advocate for mental health awareness, youth empowerment, and the broader social responsibilities of athletes throughout her entire career, simply smiles. A real smile, the kind that reaches all the way to the eyes. She stands there and honors the moment unfolding across the net from her, and in doing so, she demonstrates exactly the kind of character that makes her so much more than just a tennis champion. Eventually, after what feels like both an eternity and no time at all, Aiex gently pulls back from the embrace. She cups the boy's face in her hands for a moment, looks directly at him, kisses him on the forehead, and then rises, wiping her eyes with the wristbands on her forearms as she jogs back toward the baseline. She gives a wave of deep, genuine gratitude to the umpire, another to Coco across the net, and then she squares her feet, bounces on the balls of her feet, and gets back to the match. Now, we are not going to dwell extensively on the final scoreline of the match itself, because in the full sweep of what this day became, the tennis was entirely secondary. The final result is almost beside the point, because what Eala did after she walked off that court for the last time that evening was the real victory. A victory that will echo far longer and mean far more than any tournament result ever could. The post-match press conference was unlike anything the Dubai Championships press room had ever hosted. Journalists from every major sports network and media outlet were shoulder to shoulder, microphones and cameras thrust forward, buzzing with the electricity of a story that everyone in that room already knew had transcended sport. Eala walked through the door looking nothing like a player who had just exited a high-pressure quarterfinal match. She was not defeated. She was not deflated. She radiated something rarer and more powerful than competitive fire. She radiated absolute, clarifying purpose. She sat down at the podium, took a slow, deliberate breath, looked directly into the cameras that were sending her image to screens around the world, and delivered an announcement that sent an immediate shockwave through the global sports community. "All of my prize money from this tournament," she said, her voice steady and unwavering, "will be donated to a foundation supporting children with disabilities in the Philippines so that they can play sports, build confidence, and know that they belong. And this boy, the one who was in the stands today, will be our very first ambassador." Let that sink all the way in. A quarterfinal appearance at a prestige-tier WTA event like the Dubai Championships carries a prize check worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. For a young professional athlete who is still building her career, investing in her team, funding her travel schedule across multiple continents, and establishing herself on the most competitive women's tennis tour in the world, that is not supplemental income. That is a significant, life-shaping sum of money. And Eala donated every single cent of it without hesitation, without a publicist prompting her, and without conditions. She targeted it directly, with surgical precision, to the marginalized and forgotten children in her home country. the ones who faced the exact same obstacles that almost swallowed her biggest fan hole. Children whose disabilities too often shut them out of the joy of sport entirely. The scope of the foundation she described is breathtaking in its ambition and its compassion. Adaptive sports equipment so that children in wheelchairs and with physical limitations can experience the joy of sport firsthand. Safe, accessible play spaces in communities where none currently exist. Psychological and emotional support programs specifically designed to address the confidence-destroying effects of disability-related bullying. Mentorship networks connecting young disabled athletes with professional role models who look like them and come from where they come from. The entire infrastructure of inclusion that Aiex herself clearly wishes had existed for the boy in the stands when he needed it most. And by naming that brave, 10-year-old boy as the very first ambassador of this new initiative, Aiex has done something that no amount of money can replicate. She has rewritten his story. He is no longer the bullied child from a poor neighborhood who spent his darkest days alone. He is now the face and the heart of a national movement. He is an ambassador of hope. And every child in the Philippines who sees his face connected to this initiative will know, in their bones, that their own story is not finished yet. Fellow tennis legends from across the sport are already weighing in publicly and enthusiastically. Multiple top 10 WTA players have reportedly been in direct contact with Ailex's team, deeply moved by the story and exploring how they can contribute to or amplify the foundation's reach. Even Coco Gauff, who had every reason to simply post a gracious opponent message and move on to her own preparation, has reportedly gone significantly further, sharing an extended, heartfelt tribute on her Instagram stories that praised Ailex's character, described the moment in the stands as one of the most moving things she has ever experienced on a tennis court, and called Aiex an inspiration not just to the next generation of tennis players, but to athletes across every sport. Corporate sponsors and international charities have been reaching out at a rate that Ailex's management team is reportedly struggling to keep pace with. The foundation's website, hastily set up in the hours following the press conference announcement, has already crashed multiple times from the sheer volume of international donations flooding in from tennis fans worldwide who were moved by the story and wanted to be part of it. The story has also ignited a broader conversation within the WTA itself about athlete advocacy, the responsibilities and opportunities of platform, and what truly defines a champion in the modern era of professional sport. Sports journalists and columnists who spend their careers searching for moments that capture something essential and true about the human relationship with sport are already filing pieces calling this one of the defining sporting moments of the decade. Not because of what happened on the tennis court, but because of what happened beside it. Because of the radical, instinctive choice Aiex made to abandon a point, abandon a match, abandon the whole competitive frame that professional sport operates within, for a single, irreplaceable human moment with a 10-year-old boy who needed her to see him. And she did. This is what Eala has always represented, and why the passion that follows her across the Philippines and throughout the global Filipino diaspora runs so much deeper than tennis fandom. She has always carried herself with a humility and a groundedness that is striking in an era of carefully curated athletic personas. She has always spoken about her home country not as a backdrop to her personal story, but as the central reason for it. She has always talked about wanting her success to mean something beyond rankings and prize money. And on this particular Tuesday evening in Dubai, under the blazing lights of a prestige tournament, she proved that she meant every single word. The 10-year-old boy who painted Aiex, "You are my hope," on a piece of cardboard and flew thousands of miles across the world hoping to be seen by his hero did not get what he expected. He got something infinitely larger. His hero stopped the world to look at him. His hero dropped to her knees and held him while they both cried. And then his hero walked into a press room and handed him a megaphone powerful enough to change the lives of thousands of children just like him back home in the Philippines. That is not a fairy tale. That is something better than a fairy tale, because it is real, and it happened, and it is going to keep happening now because of the foundation and the movement that one extraordinary act of human courage set in motion. It cements Eala not simply as a spectacular, gifted, and thrilling tennis player, but as exactly the kind of generational role model that sport, at its very highest and rarest, is capable of producing. She is proof that the greatest trophy is not the one they hand you at the net after the final point. The greatest trophy is the look on the face of the kid in the stands who came there hoping for a glimpse and left knowing that they matter. What an absolutely breathtaking moment in sports history, and what an honor it is to bring this story to you here on Champions Tennisitics. I genuinely want to know what this story has stirred up in you. Did this moment break you open the way it broke open everyone in that stadium? How much respect do you have for Eala, not just for stopping the match, but for what she announced in that press room afterward? And how about Coco Gauff and that chair umpire, both of whom chose humanity over protocol in the exact moment it mattered? Drop your thoughts, your tears, your messages of love and support for Aiex and her incredible new 10-year-old ambassador down in the comments section right now. I am going to be reading and hearting as many as I possibly can. And this is exactly the kind of story where I want to hear from every single one of you. If this story moved you, and I know it did, please smash that like button right this second. It costs you nothing and it means everything, because every like helps push this beautiful message of hope and human connection out into the YouTube algorithm so that more people can see what true sportsmanship, true courage, and true championship actually looks like. And if you are new here at Champions Tennisitics and you want to stay right up to date with the most inspiring, shocking, emotional, and unforgettable stories from across the entire world of tennis, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a single upload. Thank you so much for watching. Keep spreading love and kindness. Keep seeing each other. Keep showing up for the people who are cheering for you from the shadows, just like Eala, and I will see every single one of you in the next video.
Usually I'm very nervous, and I was a little bit today, but I think it was just the least nervous I've been heading into a first round of a Grand Slam, and then the whole racket situation.
I think yan yung talagang pinaka nakakaiyak sa akin is when they play Lupang Hinirang or any like the national anthem and parang matagal ko nang